Welcome once again to the Fantasy Thinker. I'm Jared Quartermanch, and today we are going to be talking about Steven Erikson's The Bonehunters. I'm going to attempt to do a review. This is not going to be easy for me. This is a massive tome. Um, and there's a lot to soak in with this novel here. It's and not only that, I'm going to attempt a non-spoiler review, but that is also going to be very difficult because this is book 6 in the 10-book series, Malazan Book of the Fallen. Um, and it is there's a lot going on here, and it's going to be hard to not give away things that had happened previously in the series, and even in some of the other adjoining books that Ian S. Lamont wrote. So I will do my best to to give you a full sense of what the book is um, about, some of the themes and stuff, and without giving stuff away. We'll see how successful I am. Um, there is a lot to unpack in this book. Um, it's broken up into 4 sections. So this is a volume. It's broken up into 4 books. Books 1, 2, and 3, and 4. The first book is called the Thousand Finger God. Not exactly sure why that's called that. I've been trying to wrap my head around it. I'm sure it has something to do with the big baddie in here. We all know by this point in the series, the cripple god is behind a lot of the machinations going on in the world. Um, and of course, with Erikson, there's always more to it than that. But for now, uh, there's first we start with a prologue. There's a lot to unpack in this prologue. We treated to an extended viewpoint of Sergeant Hellion, one of the Malazan um, Marines, I believe, and she's like the drunk one, which is interesting because such a viewpoint is not a normal discord for a prologue. She's always inebriated, so how much can we trust her point of view? So she's introduced in the prologue, but it gives us a good summation of what we are in for in further along in this book, and it also um, prologue emphasizes the heavy emphasis that is going to be on Malazan soldiers in this book. And So there's also some more. The rest of prologues has those typical prophecies, nameless ones, handing out missions and what have you, that you see in many prologues. So there's prophecies galore, but this particular sergeant's point of view, um, really on Malazan imperial policies. It was priceless. It was on point. It was witty. It was um, there's sarcasm. It's really fun to read. A little bit different than previous prologues in the series, which focused on like more powerful characters and bigger players on the whole in the whole scheme of things. This was more from a grunt's point of view on the ground. So I really like that. Um, you know, in book 1, the Thousand Finger God, we get some more information about ancient history, but we get it through the crazy eyes of some animated skeleton duo, which you'll find out who they are if you don't know already. You'll know who they are, and including some name dropping from that you've seen in some big um, characters earlier. Uh, so we also have some name dropping from characters in some other books too, like Knight of Knives by Esselmont. These little nuggets, they make things fun. Um, we get some more of Cotillion and his story. We get Icarian and Mappo and Casa Olong and his new partner Samar Dev. We get this continues this duo theme that Erikson seems to put in all of his books here, which he does like better than anybody in fiction. His duos and the way they play off each other always uh, evoke lots of different themes, lots of different um, relationship aspects, and really it allows him to delve into their discussions that they have with each other, no matter who that duo is. Really drives home what Erikson is writing about here. We also get catch up with a lot of other friends, and the one thing I noticed about this volume more so than any of the previous 5 volumes in this series, the previous 5 volumes, they always introduce us to new characters, new lands, new gods, and new situations. Um, this is the first book in a series that does not do that. It actually um, brings us to the point where we should already know all these people, and we're finally continuing all their stories. And it's was really cool because you went so far in the series, you've gone in going, okay, here we go, we're starting again. Book 2, we went to a different continent. Book 3, we went back to a continent, but we introduced a whole bunch of new stuff. uh Book 4, we got a whole new character and a whole new point of view for a whole third of the book almost. And then we go back to the second continent. And then book 5, a third new continent, a whole new story, and a real masterpiece of a story. But still, now in Bone Hunters, we kind of got them. We got it all. It's all there, and it all fits together perfectly. And so I love how he did that. And so I want to go on to all right. I already did a video about book 2 beneath this name. My video mostly focused on um, Erikson's characterization of the Malazan military, with that, especially with that 80-page chapter 7, which was just a masterpiece. I love the quote at the beginning there: "Never bargain with a man who has nothing to lose." Great quote. Um, so that that this chapter had all these soldiers. I mean, there must have been like 20 something point of views in this book. And that each one was unique, individual, and heartbreaking a lot of the times because of what they were going through. And, I don't want to give anything away there, but just one of the best sections of a book I've ever read. It's really outstanding. So then we go into book 3. It's called Shadows of the King. And there's another great quote here. It says, "We are bound into greater humanity by this skein of words." Skein? Skien? Is that how you say that? Okay. So yeah, we are bound into humanity, into the humanity in this book by the events in this book. This is where Erikson's capacity for compassion in his characters really shine through. We get further stories of a lot of the characters we've already come to know, and the finality of what happens in Egerton, the city, and in the 14th Army. Um, so this book really brought that all together. We also get a sense of how Paran Genos, the master of the deck, can really use his stuff. So that was really cool. So just wow, that very fun section of the book to read, just like just like the rest of it, really. And so one of the most astounding things about um, book 4, which is called the Bone Hunters in this the Bone Hunters volume 6 of the Malazan Book of the Fallen, is the um, the whole reintegration of all the information we've been given in the first 5 volumes and in the first 3 books of this volume itself. Storylines converge from all different directions as we catch up to a ton of different characters again. Um, so let's see here. We everything's and we also see that the crippled god's machinations really start to get his grip into all the different storylines that we're looking at here, though. But you know the I- and of course it comes back to the soldiers, the Malazan soldiers. Um, and it's like, how did Erikson make them all different? How did he do it without um, without it seeming forced at all, and without getting these characters confused? I mean, maybe because this is my second read of this book, but the first time I read this was probably 7 or 8 years ago. So, you know, it was very fresh because of that. It was, this is a second read, and maybe that's why all the characters seem so different and evolved and fleshed out. And even though it could just be a page that they were alive, in our eyes, and um, but they were still so unique. And so we also start to see in this final chapter here, these final chapters of this book, some of the cracks in the Malazan structure. So it makes you wonder: is this the beginning of the end of the empire? Um, you know, to get back to the soldiers, right? It kind of reminds me of when I was in the Air Force a long time ago. You look back and I see pictures of my unit that I was in, and you look at the pictures, and of course, we all look the same. But as you move in, focus, and get to know people, that's when the individual comes out. So on the surface, a lot of these Malazan soldiers may look the same, but once you get into their point of view and their thoughts, that's when they're so unique and so different. And so that's my real life equivalency, I guess you could say, for that. But back to the cracks in the empire. Is this the fall? Is this the fall of the empire? Is it equivalent to like a fall of Rome type thing, where Rome was around for almost 1,000 years? And so that's you know is this kind of like that kind of epic ending, so to speak, or whimpering fall, depending upon how you read the history of the fall of Rome. So all told, those are my thoughts on the Bone Hunters. Um, And I once again, I think by now, I cannot recommend this series enough. So you can watch my other two videos on the Bone Hunters, where I actually dove into the prose of the book in a couple of places, of particular passages that I thought stood out, or passages that I wanted to convey a certain theme over. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe below, and be good to each other.